Hello friends, welcome to Sivarajavel IAS Academy, and this is our discussion regarding the weekly current affairs update on environment and geography. In this video, we will discuss about the important highlights of recently released India State of Forest Report 2021, right? So if we observe this report, it has been released by an institution called as Forest Survey of India, which works under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So it is the 17th biennial report on status of forest in India, right? So 17th biennial report means every 2 years this report has been released. Previously it was released on the year of 2019. So, as per this report, the total forest and tree cover in India is around 24.62% of the total geographical area of the country, which has seen an improvement from the last report of 2019. Last report in 2019, our forest and tree cover was 24.56%, but it has increased to 24.62%. Out of these two, the total forest cover consists of 21.71% and the tree cover consists of 2.91%. In combination of both of these, the total forest and tree cover is 24.62%, right? So the forest cover, if we observe the trend with respect to the forest cover and tree cover, right from the year of 2011 to 2021, you can observe an increasing trend in the forest cover as well as tree cover over the past decade. When compared to the year of 2019, you can observe 0.22% increase in the forest cover and 0.76% increase in the tree cover. So right from the 2011, our approach towards the enhancement of forest and tree cover in India is on the rising trend, right? So with this, we will discuss about some of the important highlights of this particular report, right? Before analyzing about the total forest cover, we need to understand the different classification of forest types, right? So based upon the canopy density or based upon the vegetation type, the forest cover has been differentiated majorly as 5 types, right? First, it has been called as very dense forest. So what is the definition of this very dense forest means? If you take a region of forest where the tree cover of canopy density, if it has a canopy density of 70% and more, it can be regarded as a very dense forest, right? So this is the region of, this is an example of very dense forest regions, right? So canopy density is all about the upper cover of a tree, right? The branches and the leaves which covers the overall land. When if you observe a dense forest which is always been found at a region where the rainfall can exceed more than 200 to 250 centimeters of annual range, right? So if the canopy density is more than 70% of the total forest area, then that region could be regarded as very dense forest. So on the basis of this canopy density, every forest has been classified. If you take the case of moderately dense forest, this canopy density is between 40% and 70%. This is an example of moderately dense forest where you cannot find the so much of closer connectivity with respect to each trees as in the case of very dense forest, right? So if the next category is open forest, here the canopy density is between 10% and 40%. Here this is an image of open forest, right? In our previous discussion itself, while we talking about the introduction of cheetah into the Kuno Palpur Wildlife Sanctuary, the vegetation type of that sanctuary is open forest. Open forest means the trees and vegetation has been scattered in a larger area where you cannot find so much of denser and closer association of vegetation in that region, right? And apart from these, the another type is called as scrubs. Scrubs are normally regions which are very poor in canopy density. That is, if the canopy density is less than 10%, it can be regarded as scrubs, right? Apart from these, if we take the case of coastal regions, especially the regions of eastern coast of India, you can find a different type of vegetation called as mangroves, which can be regarded as tidal vegetation type, right? Mangroves, which are found especially on the coastal regions, can be divided into different types, moderately dense or very dense, or different types of mangroves on the basis of its canopy density. So these are all the basic different classification of forest types as per our forest report. Then we will observe how these different classification of forest have been present in different regions of India, right? So if you take the case of overall vegetation map of India, especially in the year of 2021, you can clearly find that out of the total 21.71 percentage of forest cover, the largest proportion is occupied by open forest, right? 21.71 percentage is what, apart from tree cover, 21.71 percentage is the total forest cover of India. In that, open forest occupies the largest proportion, and the second position is occupied by the moderately dense forest. And if you observe the position of very dense forest, it merely covers only 3.4 percentage of the total forest cover regions, right? Then scrubs can be regarded as another 1.42 percentage coverage. So remaining regions out of the, apart from forest cover and tree cover, remaining 76.8 percentage can be regarded as non-forest regions, right? So if you clearly observe the position of very dense forest, it is majorly present along the western slopes of Western Ghats, northeastern part of India, especially the regions in and around Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland and Mizoram, then to some outskirts of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh regions, right? If you observe the vegetation type in India, you can clearly relate it with respect to the rainfall pattern of India, right? We know that India receives majority of its rainfall during the southwest monsoon season. And southwest monsoon season, especially in the months of June to October, if we observe the rainfall pattern of India, then, and another important region is Andaman and Nicobar Island regions. Andaman, Nicobar Island, Western Ghats and northeastern regions are experiencing higher amount of rainfall. And the Bay of Bengal branch of southwest monsoon is also bringing rainfall to the central eastern part of India. This regions, that is the regions of around Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Orissa, is also rich in vegetation type, right? Why? Because these regions are part of central highlands. These regions are part of central highlands, and during the southwest monsoon, the position of tropical easterly jet streams over the peninsular India facilitates the movement of this Bay of Bengal branch towards the central highland regions of India. Normally the Coromandel coast is not receiving rainfall during the southwest monsoon. It receives rainfall during the northeast monsoon, right? So these central highland regions, Western Ghats, northeastern hills and the high Himalayan ranges in and around Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are experiencing orographic type of rainfall, during the southwest monsoon, which is closely related to the distribution of different vegetation types in and around India, right? So this is a clear indication of the distribution of very dense, moderately dense and open forest regions, right? So you must know about the categorization of different forests with respect to its percentage coverage in overall forest cover of India, right? Then these are all the important data with respect to this forest survey report, right? If we observe the forest cover in area wise, right? Forest cover in area wise, that is how much area the forest cover, which may differs with respect to dense forest or moderately forest or any other subtypes, right? Madhya Pradesh is the topmost state which has largest proportion of forest cover in terms of area wise, which is followed by Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Maharashtra. And another indication is that if we observe the forest cover with respect to the percentage of its land region, right? Mizoram occupies the top position. Around 84.53% of its total land region is covered by vegetation or forest cover. All the northeastern states, majorly except Assam, all the northeastern states, because Assam, if we consider the state of Assam, due to the presence of Brahmaputra Valley, it is the only state which has less vegetation cover as compared to the other northeastern states. Arunachal Pradesh occupies the second position, Meghalaya, Manipur and Nagaland, right? So this, in terms of percentage wise forest cover, northeastern states occupy the highest position. In terms of area wise cover, Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, that is the central and eastern portions of India, occupies the largest proportion, right? When compared to the last report of 2019, which state have achieved a significant rise in its forest cover? There has been a ranking behind that, right? Andhra Pradesh occupies the first position, which has a highest number of highest increase in its forest cover when compared to the 2019 report. Andhra Pradesh, which is followed by Telangana, Odisha, Karnataka and Jharkhand. And another important trend you need to observe that northeastern states is known for rich vegetation, right? Even the largest percentage of forest cover is occupied by northeastern states. But when compared to the last 2019 report, all the northeastern states have observed a decline in forest cover, right? It is a cause of concern, right? Maybe in the long term, we may face a negative impacts out of this decline in forest cover. Arunachal Pradesh occupies the first position in terms of reduction in forest cover. Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram and Meghalaya, right? And another data like that of the forest cover, tree cover is also been part of this survey report, right? If you take the case of tree cover, Maharashtra occupies the top position, followed by Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh, right? In terms of percentage wise tree cover, Chandigarh occupies the first position, followed by Delhi, Kerala and Goa. And in this report, an important indication is that here they have highlighted the forest cover of mega cities in India. If we observe the forest cover of Delhi, it has experienced an increase of forest cover with respect to its 2011 status. It is a decadal change in the forest cover when compared to the 2011 forest coverage of the mega cities. Delhi has shown 11% increase in its forest cover, and the largest increase in forest cover over the past decade is experienced by Hyderabad. Around 147% increase in its forest cover have been achieved by this particular city. The second position is occupied by Chennai. Around 26% of increase in forest cover with respect to the 2011 data, you can observe clearly here. Mumbai is also increasing its forest cover, but on the another side, Ahmedabad occupies the maximum reduction in its forest cover with respect to 2011 data. 48% decrease in forest cover, which is followed by Kolkata, 30% decrease, and Bengaluru experiences 5% decrease in its forest cover, right? This is another important interesting data with respect to the mega cities, especially at the time where we are facing the extremities of weather situations in the cities in terms of urban heat islands or urban floods or pollution or cloud burst. All of these activities are related to the inappropriate management of urban cities, right? These data are very much important from the exam perspective. Then another important data with respect to the mangrove cover in India, right? If we observe the overall coverage of mangrove, you can observe around 5,000 square kilometers of mangrove cover in India, which occupies 0.15% of the country's total geographical area. When compared to the 2019 report, we have observed the increase in mangrove cover, right? We have observed an increase in mangrove cover by 17 square kilometer, right? And if you have observed the categorical segmentation of mangrove cover in India, everyone knows that West Bengal in terms of Sundarbans occupies the largest position. Around 42% of its mangrove cover is present within Sundarbans of West Bengal region. Its second position is occupied by Gujarat. 23.66% of mangrove cover is positioned in Gujarat region, right? Then Andaman and Nicobar Islands occupies 20.4 percentage of its 4 percentage of mangrove cover, right? But if you observe the categorization of mangroves in its distribution, even though West Bengal in terms of Sundarbans occupies the largest position, right, in terms of its percentage. Majority of the mangrove type is belonging to the very dense mangrove type. But if you observe the second position of Gujarat, Gujarat occupies the second largest proportion with respect to mangrove cover. But if you observe the category of mangroves, very dense mangroves is not at all present in Gujarat. Largest proportion is occupied by open mangroves, right? So density wise, richness wise, mangroves presence in Gujarat is of very lower category in terms of density or richness, right? These are all certain important data you need to observe, right, in terms of mangrove cover in India. Then the important new initiative with respect to this forest survey report is they are mapping the forest cover in both tiger as well as lion reserves, right? If we have taken into the account of tiger reserves, within the tiger reserves, which tiger reserves occupies the largest proportion in terms of forest cover means Nagarjuna Sagar Srisailam tiger reserves of Telangana regions occupies the top position in terms of the area, largest area covered by forest, right? Simlipal Tiger Reserve of Odisha is in the second position, then Indravati Tiger Reserve of Chhattisgarh occupies the third position. But in terms of percentage wise, the Parke Tiger Reserve of Arunachal Pradesh, around 96% or 97% of its forest of its tiger reserves is occupied by forest. Then second position is occupied by Achnakmar in Chhattisgarh region, Simlipal, Khali, Dampa regions of tiger reserves, right? If we take in, but this position is taken into the account by comparing the data of 2011. It is not with respect to the 2019 or it not with respect to 2017 or something like that. It's forest cover decadal change with respect to 2011 and 2021 is being observed in this particular survey. When compared to the 2011 report, the total forest cover within the tiger reserves has been decreased by a minimal range of 0.04%, right? But if you take the case of each individual for tiger reserves, the largest increase in forest cover has been experienced by Baksa Tiger Reserve of West Bengal, followed by Anamalai Tiger Reserves of Tamil Nadu, then Indravati Tiger Reserves of Chhattisgarh. The maximum losses in forest cover is experienced by Kaval Tiger Reserves of Telangana, Bhadra Tiger Reserve of Karnataka, and followed by Sundarbans, right? Another important data, that is the presence of wetlands within the tiger reserves. There are around 7.2% of the total areas of tiger reserves is occupied by wetlands, right? Around 5,800 wetlands are present within the tiger reserves boundary itself. The Sundarban, obviously everyone knows that, right? Sundarban Tiger Reserve is the only tiger reserve where the presence of tiger has been found in the coastal region, that is in the tidal forest regions, right? 96.7% of its total area comes under the category of wetlands. In terms of number, the Kanha Tiger Reserve of Madhya Pradesh has around 461 wetlands within its tiger reserve region. These are all important data which has been released in this particular report, right? And then if we take into the account of total forest cover within the tiger reserves, around 74% of the total area of tiger reserves is occupied by forest. And if you observe the category of forest, moderately dense forest and dense forest are occupying the largest portion. This has a close linkage with respect to the habitat requirement of tiger in the dense and very dense regions, right? On the another side, we know that lion, especially the Asiatic lion, has been found only in one region of India, that is Gir National Park or Gir Wildlife Sanctuary regions of Gujarat, right? If we observe the forest cover of this Gir Sanctuary or Gir National Park, 82% within the wildlife sanctuary is occupied by forest and 97% of Gir Wildlife Sanctuary is part of Gir National Park, right? 97% of the Gir National Parks is occupied by forest, but the largest proportion is occupied by the open forest and moderately dense forest, in converse to the dense forest of tiger. So this itself is a clear indication that tiger prefers more denser vegetation, whereas lion prefers more open or moderately dense vegetation, right? It is because of this we have already discussed that the Kuna-Palpur wildlife sanctuary region of Madhya Pradesh, where we are aiming to introduce cheetah, is also one of the important proposed sites for introduction of Asiatic lion into that particular region, because of the largest presence of open forest types in that particular region, right? These are all the certain significant data with respect to forest cover in both tiger as well as lion reserve, as we have only one lion reserve in India, right, which is nothing but Gir Wildlife Sanctuary or Gir National Park. Another important new initiative, especially at the time where we are facing the vagaries of climate change and global warming, this survey has introduced an important mapping of climate change hotspots of Indian forests. That is, those regions where the forests are very vulnerable to climate change and its associated activities, right? This methodological observation is conducted with the help of BITS Pilani to map the climate hotspots of forest areas of the country, right? And it has given a computerical model regarding the extent to which these forest regions are going to get affected as a result of global warming and climate change by 3 time horizons, right? They have predicted the variation with respect to the climate change and its activities in the forest covers for 3 time periods, that is 2030, 2050 and 2085, right? In that sense, if we observe, the more vulnerability with respect to climate change has been associated with the 2 important activities. Either it could resulted in increase of temperature or decrease of temperature. And another important aspect is related to the pattern of rainfall in that region as a result of climate change or global warming, right? The northwestern region of India, especially the northwestern portion of trans-Himalayan regions or Great Himalayan regions, that is Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, are going to experience the highest temperature increase in these 3 time periods, because these regions are going to heavily affected as a result of global warming and climate change, as these regions are part of the third pole regions, the permafrost regions of the world, right? Then obviously it could result in larger number of catastrophic activities like flash floods, avalanches, or glacier lake outbursts, or some other activities which might further trigger the deforestations, or which might trigger the habitat fragmentations or habitat loss of various tiger reserves as well as other vegetation species which are belonging to these regions. Least temperature rise might be observed in the regions of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, West Bengal, Goa, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, right? On the another side, as a result of global warming and climate change, the extremities of weather is the cause of concern, right? Northeastern regions, which is the most important regions, which is known for highest rainfall receiving regions of India, would also may experience further increase in its rainfall, especially during the time of southwest monsoon. Highest rainfall increase will be observed in the northeastern states and as well as upper Malabar coast, which is nothing but the northern portions of Western Ghats, that is northern portions of Kerala and southern portions of Karnataka region, western slopes of Western Ghats. These 2 regions are known for highest amount of rainfall in India, right? Then a decrease or decline in rainfall is also been experienced in part of the northeastern states like Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim. Apart from these 2 states of northeastern regions, remaining other states might experience an increase in rainfall pattern, especially the northwestern part of India, the same Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh regions, where these regions on the other side will going to experience increase in rainfall, increase in temperature, is also going to experience decrease in rainfall pattern. These are all the predictions, and these are all very much significant for future planning for any conservation related activities, or for any management or disaster management, or for any industrialization, or for any other planning, which these data might be taken into account for future conservation activities, right? With this, we can wind up this session. Thank you, friends.